We're talking actors and directors who put on the shows.
We're talking playwrights and designers who you'll want to know.
From the very first rehearsal to the final curtain call.
We might be off Broadway, but we're talking about it all.
'Cause we're two local gals
With global pals, it's everything, everything, everything theater.
with Benita
And Ellen. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Theater Podcast, the podcast where we talk about
Everything Theater. Hi, everybody. I'm Benita San.
and I'm Ellen Cribbs.
We love this show because we get to really talk everything theater. It's everything that's been on Broadway. And we get to talk with Adam Deremer, who sees everything that's on Broadway. And a million other things, but we're just going to leave it as he's that guy. And we talk with him every year. Hi, Adam. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm great. I'm so glad to be back once again.
So
What is this,
this is
our
a
fourth year?
big
Yeah, I was
year.
gonna say, yeah, this is their fourth year as you as our Tony Insight guy.
I love it.
Do we have to get him a mug or something? Oh God, then we have to make mugs.
Let's go year 5. I'll expect a gift in year 5.
Okay. And then we can sell the mugs and the t-shirts. So everybody, start saving your dollars. It'll be Christmas gifts to everybody you know and love in theater.
Yes.
So what was it? 30 of the 34 shows that could have been nominated, 28 picked up nominations this year. Wow, what a year.
It's a crazy sporadic year. Yeah. I wrote down some notes because this is why Adam is a huge asset to us, because I only got to see 3 shows this entire year. But yeah, in the 2023-2024 Broadway season, 39 shows opened and only 8 of those shows got 0 nominations. And they're all over the place, the nominations.
True. And I will start this whole conversation.
One more set of numbers. 12 shows opened and then 9 days before the eligibility deadline.
Yeah,
How
that was
crazy.
wild.
Right?
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was stressful getting to things fast.
Which, like, I don't know. Like, Adam, do you think that was a good move on those shows' parts? Or, like, should they have just waited and worked on next season?
Yeah, I don't think it was a good move because it was all happening too fast. You couldn't get people in quickly enough to really count for Tonys. I don't know what the voters, how difficult it was for them to catch everything this year around, because it was just crazy. And I will say, going into this conversation, this year, we've done this 4 years now, and I'm always like, oh, this is going to be the big winner. This is going to be the big winner. I have no idea for a lot of these things. I could bet on 2 things very surely, but overall, it is a wild card, especially in the year of new musicals.
I was gonna say, because I think you've nailed it every year. I've used you as my reference on my Tony ballot. And I always get a good score because yeah, you've nailed it.
I mean, I like to say I have been there, but I don't know if you can trust me this year. We'll see. It's just things are all over the place, which is, I think, is wildly exciting because you don't have that one show that's going to win everything. Well, we'll get there. There sort of is, but in some categories, you really don't. And that means there could be a lot of splits this year, which would be really fun.
I do like when the wealth is shared. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Benita, you're back.
Oh, hi.
Hi,
Yes.
sorry you froze on us.
I'm out on the Cape, as I've shared with you. So it's been a little, it might just be a little unstable.
Get that beach Wi-Fi.
It's wavy.
Yes.
Been windy here.
Could be a
Ariana
little
DeBose,
salty.
3rd year, MC, worth watching the show just for her.
100%.
Agree.
Yeah. And this year
All
they're
right.
doing the thing that annoys me of the beginning as Act 1 is at 6:30, but it's Pluto TV, which I understand it's a free app this year, so you don't have to have a quick trial of Paramount Plus.
I believe so.
Oh, I didn't realize. It is okay. Because otherwise, I think you have to pay for Pluto.
You normally have to,
I-
Benita?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I thought it was like maybe a free trial situation. So maybe folks that didn't have it could
Maybe
do
that's what it
that
is.
for, but I haven't paid too much attention to that
Okay,
because
first
it
things
also
first.
annoys me, Ellen.
Right. What's your fave?
Um,
Adam, what's your fave?
Play, stereophonic. Musical, it's really difficult, but if you're making me choose, I'm going to go Outsiders. Revival of a musical, Merrily We Roll Along, because it's perfection in every way. And revival of a play, very, very difficult, but my personal favorite, even though I don't think it'll win, is Pearly Victorious.
Mm. So let's break that down
Yeah.
a little bit. Because we
Sure.
got Stereophonic tied with Hell's Kitchen for the most nominations with 13 nods. So tell us a little bit about why you think that's gonna be the winner.
Most nominated play of all time. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
What it makes it so interesting is that it's nominated for Best Score, which is new this year, and I really think it has a chance. Before I saw all the musicals, I was like, well, this is by far the best music of the season, and it's from a play, and I think it will win. Now I'm a little less sure about that, but the music is spectacular. It's this wonderful like 70s rock album vibe, kind of like Mamas and the Papas feel to it. Um, it's inventive. It's so well acted, and they're all singing live. They're playing instruments. It is very long. It's about like 310, 315. Um, but at first, I give me a 90-minute no intermission. I'm thrilled. And so going into this, I was like, uh-oh. But it is such for a reason because it's like not that any of us have recorded a full studio album. Um, I know we've tried, but I mean, I can only imagine there's so much downtime. There's so much just stupid conversations that happens in the recording studio. So they really went through the whole gambit of what might happen. And it's actually funny. I went to see a show last night, and as we were leaving, I was walking past a group of people who had just seen Stereophonic, and they were just talking about like, oh, do we need all that silence? Did we need all that time? Where they were just talking about one little thing, and I really wanted to turn to them and be like, yes, we did. It's there for a reason. Um, but it's great. It's the really the one show I just keep thinking about because it just I haven't seen anything like it, and it surprised me.
But that's an interesting comment, Adam. And it'll be interesting to see how the show continues to do. Because, and it's something Ellen and I have talked about, this whole movement to 90 minutes, no intermission, has swept, I mean, regionally. It's
Yeah,
everything seems to be that. And that when you've got an intermission, it's like, oh my God, I got to come back for more. The attitude has really changed.
hmm
That will be interesting to see.
but I will
Um,
say this season there's less of the 90-minute thing happening.
Mm.
Really, all the front runners and the big nominees are not 90 minutes. It's a little more traditional 2 act structure.
so best new play, you say Stereophonic.
Yes, and I'm not even doubting it. I know for sure it'll
I
win,
just
and it'll probably win most of what it's nominated for.
I just want to give a shout out to Jaja's African hair braiding. It
I
was
missed it.
it was delightful. Um, it was smart. It was different. It was honest. There was only one bit in the writing that I had trouble with. I thought that it's like she got a little, okay, now how do I get out of this? And the
Mm,
acting across the board was fabulous. And to have an all African American cast, women,
yeah, yeah. I do regret missing that one. It was a time when I wasn't like getting to much theater, and it just flew by so fast.
now the mother play had gotten a lot of attention, but that's on the list for best
I
new play.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of people have really enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it. I really like Paula Vogel, but it didn't feel, and I know this is a very intimate piece for her that she wrote for, I believe, her brother. Um, but it just didn't grab me the way I was expecting it to, and it didn't really feel fresh or edgy enough. And I was a little disappointed, and this is just my experience personally, but in the acting this day, I saw it because it felt like there were three actors in three different plays, and I was getting lots of different style choices, and it didn't feel cohesive. And I know I should have been crying by the end, but I wasn't.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
Okay.
genuine, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You best revival for a musical. You're going with Merrily. I'm not going to argue with you at all. I thought it was fabulous.
I'd say, is this like the one that all three of us saw?
Oh, good. Yes.
Look, there's still problems with the show, but wow, they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen it 3 times. I think it's the only thing I've seen this many times now. I saw it when it was downtown, and then I came back to Broadway to see it. Lindsay Mendez was out, so I saw her understudy, who was wonderful, by the way.
Same. Yep, same.
And then I was like, well, if I'll go, I'll try to go back again. And through work, we were able to last minute get a couple of tickets to go back again. So I went again. They were all there. It's just the three of them are magic together. Maria Friedman, the direction is spectacular. It's simple, and there's just a magic there that I can't quite explain, because you're right, it's not a perfect piece, but I will say this, it has become my favorite Sondheim show now. I found myself so moved by it. Like Act Two, just absolutely devastated from like beginning to end. It's
You know,
like,
and I didn't
why
know
is he
this.
crying so much?
I didn't know this until today, and when I was doing a little research, that Maria Friedman, the director, she actually staged this exact production, obviously different actors, 12 years ago in 2012 in
Mm.
London, and that transferred to the West End, and she
Hmm.
earned an Olivier nomination for her work. So
Yeah.
I thought that was wild that this has been like such a huge journey for her working on this show.
Yeah. It was
And
at the
they've all been
Chocolate Factory,
nominated.
right?
Yeah. And they've all been nominated in their category. One for
Yes.
best actor, and then best performance of an actor in a featured role for the other two. Daniel Radcliffe, I think, is just, he, a lot of people are never going to see him other than Harry Potter. But boy, I mean, he exploded on the Broadway scene doing Equus. I think that was his
Hmm.
first Broadway show after playing, the boy wizard, and hasn't looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's always wonderful, and he commits so much. I mean, I saw Equus. I did not, I know he was in How to Succeed in Business, which I did
I,
not see.
yeah, I saw him. He
You
was
did?
amazing in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And Cripple of Inishmaan, he was
Hmm.
in. I saw that. Um, he he's great. And all the shows I've seen him in, he's never missed a performance for me, which I find odd for like a big film star, you know? They
Yeah.
tend to be out a little bit more in a lot of cases. And he just really commits. And Benita, you're talking about all three of them being nominated. Just to speak to that, I really think all three of them will win their categories. They're hard categories, but I think they're all going to win.
Do you think
Wow.
Lindsay's going to beat BB Newirth from Cabaret
I
Theater?
do. I do. If BB wins, I will be thrilled, because I saw that a couple of days ago, and she's wonderful. Just if we're going to switch gears to that for a moment, the way she sang "What Would You Do" in Act Two. Did you see it, Benita?
No, but I played that role, and
Oh my
there
God!
is
Of course you
no
have. I could see you do.
song
Yes.
more tearing. I mean, and to think, I've got to see her do it. There,
You do.
that is, you sing that from your toes all the way through your body, and there's no question she's more than capable to do that.
Oh, the so specifically, that song is full of questions, right? You know it. You've sung it. She asks those questions like I've never heard anybody ask them before. And she's like, seriously, tell me the answer to these. While I didn't love the production overall, but I could pick it apart, it's still stuck with me because I love that show so much. But she is spectacular. So if she were to win, I would be thrilled. But I think Lindsay Mendez has the momentum.
Does she? I mean, and because Eddie, the interpretation that Eddie Redmayne was directed to embrace has gotten a lot of eyebrow raising.
Hmm. He made choices. He made lots of choices. I don't know that I agree with a lot of
Yes.
them, but I will say he is working his butt off, and that I was really impressed by how what he was doing. He was fully invested. Whether I agreed with the choices that MC brought to the table, it went back and forth, but he really worked his butt off.
Got to take a look at best leading actress in a play because
it's hard.
Yeah, you've got Betsy Adam from Prayer of the French Republic, Jessica Lange in the Mother play, Rachel McAdams, Mary Jane, Sarah Paulson, Inappropriate, and there's a sidebar story to that, and Amy Ryan in Doubt. You know, the Sarah Paulson is, you know, we've probably, if you're in the theater, somebody wrote her like a 6-page diatribe about what she should do, you know, from one of her roles. And she's like, yeah, get a life.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. A couple weeks ago, right?
Right.
Or it was in the news a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize if I keep looking over. I'm looking because the Drama Desk Awards are being announced as we are recording this. So they are always kind of the bellwether for me in some ways. So I'm like peeking over. So speaking of this category, but outstanding lead performance of a play for Drama Desk Awards are not divided by gender. So, and I don't know if it's always two. I think it might be, but Jessica Lange and Sarah Paulson both won. Sorry, spoiler alert, everybody listening and watching.
Well, we got to throw out too that Amy Ryan was put into the role days before her first performance.
Yeah,
right,
and then has a Tony nomination.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great actor. I missed that show as well, unfortunately, but I heard she was great. I mean, she's always good. But it's a great. I mean, that category, all of them are spectacular actors, and I'm leaning towards Sarah Paulson. I thought she was just really spectacular in it, and we talked about Mother Play a little bit, and I think Jessica Lange would win if it were about Legacy Award, and I think she's already gotten that, and she's a wonderful actor. But I think Sarah Paulson it was a more nuanced performance, in my opinion.
Best leading actor of a play, William Jackson Harper, Uncle Vanya, Leslie Odom Jr., Pearly Victorious. I'm a big fan of his, I've got to say. Liev Schreiber, Doubt, Jeremy Strong in Enemy of the People, and Michael Stolbarg, Patriots.
I think Jeremy Strong, it's doing so well. It's a great show, and he's spectacular in it. It's also still running, where you have a couple of those that aren't running anymore, which is, unfortunately, when all the shows are opening quickly back to back to back, I think that can have effect on voters a little bit. So you're getting the people fresh in your mind. Jeremy Strong's great. I would love it if Leslie Odom Jr. won for Pearly Victorious. Pearly Victorious was recently broadcast on PBS, by the way, so it's out there, so you can grab it to watch, and I think everyone should because it's so good. But yeah, I think I'm leaning Jeremy Strong.
Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a play. Will Brill, stereophonic. Eli Gelb, stereophonic. I hate when they put two of them against each other.
Keep going. There's three. This one, yeah.
Backstage. Right, 3 exactly. Jim Parsons' Mother play. Tom Pasinka or Pakinka? Pasinka, stereophonic, and Corey Stoll, Inappropriate.
If I had to choose, I would go Will Brill. I think all of the actors in Stereophonic are spectacular. My concern with this is concern better. That there's 3 Stereophonic actors, so the vote could get split, and that none of them would win. In that case, I would go Corey Stoll, if I really had to choose. But yeah, it's hard. It's when 3 of them who really have equal amount of stage time in Stereophonic and are all doing different things, and they're all so good. How do you choose? And yeah, if it could just split the vote, but Will Brill, if I had to, would be my favorite. But I love him in everything, so maybe I'm just automatically magnetized towards him because he's in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He's Maisel's brother. He's just great. I've seen him in a bunch of things over the years. I like The Public and Downtown.
performance by an actress in a featured role in a play. Quincy Teller Bernstein Doubt, Juliana Canfield Stereophonic, Celia Keenan Bolger Mother Play, Sarah Pidgeon Stereophonic, Carrie Young Pearly. And the winner you think is?
I want it to be Sarah Pigeon because especially her voice singing wise is spectacular and she's just so good. I also really want it to be Kara Young. If we're talking drama desk, by the way, Celia and Kara both won their category. So this makes me think it's going to be one of the two of them. And Celia is wonderful. She was my favorite of the three in that production. So I don't know. I don't know. This is that's a really, really hard one.
Pick it up, Ellen.
Yeah, should we jump over to the musicals? Let's see. Where are we? Best performance of an actor in a leading role. Oh, you were saying you think that. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong place. Where am I? Hold on, I gotta find the right place. Okay, best performance of an actor in a leading role in a musical. So you're thinking Jonathan Groff.
I do. It's really difficult. Go ahead.
I was going to say we also have Brody Grant, The Outsiders, Dorian Harewood, The Notebook, Brian Darcy James, Days of Wine and Roses, Eddie Redmayne, Cabaret.
I would really like it if it was Dorian Harewood. I think he's wonderful in The Notebook. And just to mention, The Notebook should have been nominated for Best Musical. It is not perfect, but it is very well done. The music is wonderful. Most of the performances are really great, him especially. So I would love for him to win. I think it's going to be Jonathan Groff, though.
Yeah.
Could be Brian Darcy James. It could surprise us, but
he was great. You know, the show, it's not a musical. Can we talk? You know, they
Days
tried.
of Wine and Roses.
I just don't think it I don't think it translated well.
I agree.
Kelly O'Hara was luminescent.
Yeah.
And he
great performances.
Yeah. But the vehicle.
Yeah, it's do we need a 2.5 hour musical about an alcoholic couple in the 50s? I don't think so. I think we've seen that story a lot. I think a lot of the music was very lovely, but it didn't lift the story for me.
Well said.
Yeah, I agree. So moving on to actress in a leading role in a musical. So we got Eden Espinosa from Lampica. Malaya Joy Moon, is that it's correct?
I think it's Malaya Joy Moon, yeah.
Malaya.
Malaya,
Hell's
I
Kitchen. Kelly O'Hara, Days of Wine and Roses, Marianne Plunkett, The Notebook, Gail Rankin, Cabaret.
Full don't know. It's really hard. I would like Marianne Plunkett because to be a woman playing dementia on stage and so earnestly and heartbreakingly, she's absolutely wonderful. She's the best part of the show. And I mean, I wept during certain things she was doing. So I think she deserves it. I would really like it if she wins. And I think it's possible. But I think Kelly O'Hara might have a little bit more of a chance.
New York Times picks Gail Rankin.
They did?
Yeah.
Who?
Gail Rankin, from Cabaret is who.
Oh no, sorry. I mean, which person at the Times did they say?
Oh, sorry, I've got to go back.
Okay. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Who wrote that? That is, I'll tell you in a sec. Emily Burak.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Gail's great. The only thing missing that I question, and I think this is more direction, is why are people so magnetized towards this Sally? Right? That's the thing about Sally Bowles. She's got charisma and you can't explain it, but there's something there. And I see a little bit of that missing, at least in the earlier part. But Gail's performance as the show progresses is moving. It was one of my favorites, maybe this time I've ever seen.
How about best performance by an actor in a featured role in musical? We got Roger Bart, Back to the Future, Joshua Boone, The Outsiders, Brandon Victor Dixon, Hell's Kitchen, Sky Lakota Lynch, The Outsiders, Daniel Radcliffe, Merrily We Roll Along, and Steven Skybell Cabaret.
I mean, I think it's going to be Daniel Radcliffe. He's great. They've got the momentum of how successful that show's doing. Skybell is wonderful as Air Schultz in Cabaret. Daniel Boone is heartbreaking in Outsiders. So that's a really hard one, but I feel pretty certain about Daniel Radcliffe.
He was great, and he
Yeah.
grew.
Yeah.
It was not a one-note performance.
No, not at all.
And
You
that
know?
leap he did in the beginning of Act 2, you know the moment I'm talking about? I think he jumped like
Yeah.
3 times his height. I was like, you can
Which
do
is not that
everything.
hard, Ellen. I'm just
He is short.
Yes.
compact.
Yes, compact is a good word. Yeah.
And then we kind of already talked about actress in a featured role in a musical, or thinking Lindsay Mendez.
Yeah.
Who was my actual personal
But
favorite of
best
the 3.
musical
Agree.
was Mendez.
Yeah, she was my favorite of the 3 of them.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
One thing before we move on to best musical, to throw out there, we got to talk about how this is a record-breaking.
Best new music.
Oh, sorry, what, Benita? Oh, so we got to talk about how this is a record-breaking year for female directors, and how what is it? We got. Oh, where'd my notes go? Oh, I lost where I was. Oh, so 16 of the 39 plays were directed by females. And this is the most female directors ever nominated in a season.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's awesome. I don't have a list here of like how many are nominated, but but that's great.
And nominated, you've got Anne Kaufman
There it is.
and Lila Neugebauer and Whitney White, along with Daniel Auken and Kenny Leon. So
I think
3-2.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Daniel just
That's a
because
play.
stereophonic. Yes, yeah, plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I have not seen Mary Jane yet. I'm seeing it on Thursday, so that'll end my season viewing. But Lila's direction of appropriate, I thought was appropriate. But it was beautiful because it was just so natural. And then the way the show ends is one of my favorite endings I've seen in a play in a really long time.
And then best direction of a musical, you've got Maria Friedman for Merrily, Michael Grief, Hell's Kitchens, Lee Silverman for Sups, Jessica Stonewater for Elephants, and Daniel Tamor, The Outsiders. Have you seen Water for Elephants yet?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So the puppets are really well done. There's a lot of very good work happening in it. The music it's just really forgettable. To this day, I couldn't tell you anything about one of the songs. Unfortunately, something was missing there. And I think anyone I've spoken with about it says the same thing. I love the book. It was one of my favorite books when it first came out years ago. I think it's great. I think a colleague of mine said this, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I think it might have been a great play, perhaps not a musical.
And your pick for best musical was The Outsiders, yes?
Yeah, if you're going to make me, yeah, it's so hard. This year is so hard because truthfully, none of the musicals really like blew me away. They all had their pieces, and I think Outsiders did it the most. It's the one album I keep listening to, besides Stereophonic, which is also an album available. But the Outsiders music by Jamestown Revival, it's really good, and it's really moving. And there's something about I don't know if you've read book or seen the movie The Outsiders. I'm actually in the middle of reading the book right now because it did something to me, so it made me want to like learn more about it. It's very much like the book, but it's very much about like young men just kind of breaking down the tropes that are like stuck to them and forced on them by society. And I'm a sucker for like toxic masculinity kind of being like broken in half a little bit. And so I was very, very moved by it. And I think it's really beautifully directed. All the performances are solid. It's the one that has just moved me the most. But Stuffs, I think, has potential. It's a really good show, and it's also got momentum from the what was the last awards? It won a couple awards. It wasn't. It'll come to me later, but it won some stuff recently, and it's got political momentum behind it too, because it's what it's trying to say is really important. So I think that's there. I don't think Water for Elephants really has a chance, in my opinion. I think. And Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen is the most nominated musical this year, which is great. I just found the plot a little thin. It was kind of like a teenage girl like saying to her mom for 2.5 hours, "Why can't I be with this boy?" I mean, there's more nuances to it, but there wasn't a huge plot depth there. But a lot of the
2 for 1
performances
ticks,
are
Ellen.
crazy.
2 for 1.
The what?
What's that?
2 for 1 ticks.
Yeah, 2 for 1 ticks. Yeah. Well,
What's
it's
that?
interesting. I know we're running out of time on our
We're just
Zoom, but I was my last thought was
Yeah.
like, it's interesting that you're struggling so much with picking this year, because I feel like everyone was, because I was seeing that like some of the highest grossing stuff this year got like very few nominations, like Back to the Future, The Great Gatsby, The Who's Tommy, which have been selling great, like have barely any nominations. So, it's like the
It's weird.
public, the voters.
That's what always interests me, the public versus the voters, because it is very different. Great Gatsby, people are obsessed with that show. I found it just kind of a disaster, and there's a lot of lovely singing in it, but I think it was either the director or whoever adapted it. Somebody did an interview once, and they were talking about how when they were adapting it, they were like, "Oh, I don't really like The Great Gatsby, the book." So it's like, why are you doing this musical? So there's an element of something like a disconnect there. And you know what? The other one I wanted to throw out, Illinois, we haven't talked about, is nominated for Best Musical. It is a dance show, and it's really interesting, and it's lovely Justin Peck choreography. But it's really interesting that they put that in place of some other musicals that could have been nominated, which I think should have been Notebook, and honestly, Heart of Rock and Roll could have been nominated too, because it's pretty darn good.
And on that note, we say thank you, Adam.
Yeah, we're going to get
welcome.
dumped by Zoom. Oh, Zoom, you break our hearts. But thank you so much, Adam. Enjoy, everybody, the Tonys this Sunday. We'll see what happens. I'm Ellen Cribbs.
I'm Betty Design. Have fun.
Thank you so much for listening to the Everything Theater podcast. Special thanks goes out to Alice Grinling for our photography and Justin Friello for composing our amazing theme song. Please remember to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to share your thoughts or what's going on in your theater community, you can reach out to us on social media or through our email at everythingtheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, it's everything, everything, everything.